All right, so I got it here. So Title 22 USC 141 repeal August 1st, 1956, Chapter 80770, Statute 774. All right. Act August 1, 1956 repealed sections 141 to August 143, effective upon the date which the President determined to be appropriate for the relinquishment of jurisdiction of the United States in Morocco. All right. Jurisdiction of the United States in Morocco was relinquished by memorandum of President Eisenhower dated September 15, 1956. Notice was given to Morocco on October 6, 1956, and all pending cases were disposed of by 1960. See Bulletin of the State Department, Volume 35, 909, page 844, right? And so then the nations that they list here, China, Siam, Turkey, Morocco, Muscat, Abyssinia, Persia, and territories formerly part of the Ottoman Empire, including Egypt, right? And it's like, all right, territories formerly a part of the, Ottoman Empire, including Egypt. Like, what does that sound familiar to, right? Oh, maybe it's chapter 47? All right, hold on, let me go get it. All right, we're back. So found it, chapter 47. Egypt, the capital empire of the domain of Africa. Surah 1. The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa, the dividing of the land between the Father and the Son. The dominion of Cush, this is at verse 4, Surah 4, northeast and southeast Africa and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. 5. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. 6. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa, they were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sojourned from the land of Canaan, seeking new homes. 7. And this is the part that coincides with Title 22, right? Now I'm gonna read it again. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across the great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. All right, let me read the part in 141 again. Act August 1, 1956, repealed. All right, let me jump down. 141. Related to judicial authority generally of ministers and consuls of the United States in China, Siam, Turkey, Morocco, Muscat, Abyssinia, Persia, and territories formerly part of the Ottoman Empire, including Egypt, right? Or Hekupta. That's the ancient name of Egypt, by the way. 7. Let me read verse 6 and 7 again, for those who might have missed it. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt, or Hekupta, to settle and inhabit northwest Africa. What's another name for Africa based on one-on-ones? Amexem. We know that this is northwest Africa. We know that this is northwest Amexem that we're standing on. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sojourned from the land of Canaan seeking new homes. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across the great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands before the great earthquake which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. All right, and this is just going on. I'm gonna read out the rest of the chapter just for the record. 8. The river Nile was dredged and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdoms. Also, the Niger River was dredged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the river Nile westward across the great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. All right. On this side, we call it the Mississippi and the Rio Grande. Right? But I'll let you more scholars do the rest on that. You know, we might hit that in some other classes in detail. But just to give you guys a heads up. Alright, 9, according to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race. It's very important now. Descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. 11. There is no one who is able to change man from the descent nature of his forefathers, unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator, Allah himself. And I ain't met nobody whose power extends beyond Allah's. Personally, I just haven't. I know, maybe you have. I don't know. 12. These holy and divine laws are from the prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. 13. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. I, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day which is sure to come. 15. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess his own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery, due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro and colored, the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. Islam. And let me just hash this point, a couple of points actually. Verse 14, it says, every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Now right there, and I've visited, a temple or two, and not all of them are demonstrating love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. But the temples are right, The temples are right, the temple ain't right, and the prophet's not right. The issue is you've got some people who've been raised in the temple under COINTELPRO, and then you've got others who've been in the temple administrating COINTELPRO. And there's the very few who can't stomach it long enough to make it, into anything other than coming in and, doing what they're doing and they leave. Or they come in, they pay their dues for a little while, get their ID card, and then that's it, And it seems to be more like a revolving door. Well, based on COINTELPRO, that's what it's supposed to be. Based on COINTELPRO, you are supposed to be run off by them. You're supposed to be turned off by that whole situation, because it's not logical. It's not love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. All right. And going on, looking at 14, they're out of line with Act 1, right? And we could just we'll deal with verse 14 right now, but I'm gonna give you Act 1 in a second. I already read it, but every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet of the Grand Temple. I, the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day which is sure to come, right? So the temples, according to this verse, are supposed to create their own laws and own customs, right? Now, pause for the cause. All right, and we're back. Boom. So, I got a copy of Divine Constitution and Bylaws, right? Got the Moorish American prayer on there and everything. So Act 1, and this is just for the point of reference, you know, I may be wrong, I may be reading this wrong. Act 1 says the Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Right? And so when we look at this Act 1, right, it says that the Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Right? Now, if you've been studying civics, we know that the eels, right, are typically known as legislatures, and the bays are typically known as governors, right, or law enforcers, you know, versus lawgivers. And that's pretty much the function of the title behind eel and bay. Right? Now, you've got some Moors who just coming in, and I guess they think it's a fashion statement, so they throwing it on their you know, their names or their cognomens. But in terms of an appellation, because I get this question all the time, your appellation typically is supposed to reflect the culture, you know, as best you can. So, you know, I often advise people, you know, if you want to look for a Moorish name, you know, you can start with Moorish Latin. You could start with, you know, Arabic. You could even go to the ancient mindset, like the Prophet said, and actually go back to ancient Egyptians or Hykuptan names and things of that sort. There's many different ways you could trace and get to a Moorish name, you know, if you understand that basic 3rd grade etymon degree, right? You know, you can look at the etymon on your name, you know, whatever you've been given, first or middle, and you can trace it back. And a lot of times if you trace back the family names, a lot of times they will trace back to Europeans, but if you really go into the families, those families trace back to Moors, right? Which brings me to my next book that I wanted to show you guys. Shouts out to Brother Sabir Bey, because he put me on this book a long time ago. And I just wanted to read this part, because a lot of times we get things misconstrued as far as, like, you know, where things come from, right? Slavery, believe it or not, came from Moors and came from Asiatics in general, because, you know, we were enslaving our own at one point, but it wasn't so much slavery in the Western sense as much as it was more akin to indentured servitude, where you worked for a period of time and then you were released, or you could be you could be adopted into the family, so to speak. But that's getting into a whole nother can of worms. But I just wanted to read this part out of J.A. Rogers, Nature Knows No Color Line, so y'all can get that on the camera. Y'all in the chat. And I'm on page 121, right? So, what is this? Yep. So, it says Negro soldiers served beside white ones. It was a Negro who killed Marquis de Pesquier, French commander at Castelnuovo, Italy, in 1496. De Pesquier had bribed the Negro to let him enter the castle, but the latter tricked him. In Venice, Negroes were gondolers. Alright, so let's just go and get right into this Juror Questionnaire. We're back. And I want to read some of this for you guys. Matter of fact, if you want to, you can go to fezprovinceregency.org. If you look at the top, the 3 bars at the top is actually a menu button. It's not just there for showing to look pretty. Believe it or not. So, once this loads. So you're going to go to the Consular Court Restoration page. And if you want to, you guys can read along with me as I read aloud. I'm just waiting on my slow internet over here. Alright, so we about to get into this Juror Questionnaire. And I'm just going to read the intro here for you guys off of the FezProfitsRegency.org website. And if you go to the home page and you click the three bars at the top, it'll spin around and you hit the Consular Court Restoration. That'll bring you right to the page that I'm on and I'm reading from right now. So guys, check it out if you want to read with me. So it says Consular Court Restoration, Great National Association of Moorish Affairs, Northwest Amexem, Northwest Africa, North America, the North Gate, Temple of the Moon and Sun, North America, Central America, South America, Americana, Islam, Restoration of Consular Court Juror Questionnaire, Prologue. Moorish Americans, descendants of the ancient Moabites and rightful heirs of the North Gate. In our reviewing of the contemporary histories of the Moorish nation and of the present negative conditions on the earth and in the world generally, we conscientiously respond to the pressing need to reconsider the very negated and untowarded conditions existing. Much of these ruinous disorders are due to the perverse European colonial occupation via descendant Inquisition operations in U.S.Demo corporate secession. With selfishness, with greed, and with unbridled force, the deceptive priesthood and the personators of benevolence have weaved their pathogenic administrating agendas mirroring the Romans' self-assigned unum sanctum hegemony practices. Moving to and fro across the earth, they have forced their bulla propagations by way of missionaries, mercenaries, and militaries, and deemed to secure their professed hypothecations with vain explications. Upon these social and political platforms, the parasitic Roman oligarchs have declared themselves as God. With relentless fervor, the Europeans have perpetuated their foul conquest intentions against the earth and against the human family. In our quest for resolutions and remedies, we must keep in mind our cultural knowledge of the higher self and the lower self. Being Moorish scientists of the Northwest, we must also remember truth in nature and the divine rule of cause and effect, and strive to keep our passions within the bounds of righteousness. Nevertheless, and by virtue of the intersocial and international realities of human society, we Moors of the Northwest are also in treaty relations with the Roman descendants designated as Europeans. In these days, we are dealing with an occupational and criminal body politic of Romans/Europeans and their descendants who have been and are operating in belligerent breach of treaty, and who are practicing such things which are repulsive to the organic constitution. Observing these breaches and oppositions, we move to view our contemporary social and political conditions with cognizance and with deliberations and reflections on the past. All right, so moving on to the section about Consular Court Restoration, says, if you're reading along with me, this assignment is taken with the applied comprehension that the Moorish Divine and National Movement is Rotarian in purpose and complexion. Therefore, the Moorish movement is national and international in character. We, the descendants of the ancient Moabites, being the natural peoples of the land, are the true nationals, Al-Moroccans. And a firm number of us are seriously working towards stimulating our oft-distracted people to study and to seek a functional level of consciousness in government structure and of its limited parameters. Logically qualified participation in proper civic instructions is required with discipline needed to accommodate the restoration of the consular courts. Think proper recognition of diversity at North America. Just because the occupying Europeans have breached their obligation to the treaty and to the organic constitution for the United States of America does not leave us, the Moors, without our responsibilities towards ourselves. And in relationship to the occupation, damaging problems facing ourselves and our own miseducated peoples. The unfortunate reality still remains that we are nevertheless forced by the existing conditions to deal with the compound problems caused by European occupation of our peoples and lands. After all, they are still occupying the North Gate. And despite whatever ideas or opinions held by any party involved, the consular court platform and venues are of no doubt needed. All existing judicial platforms and court venues that have been held as appearing legitimate courts on North American soils have been operating under a color of law and under a color of authority. These are known misprisoned facts, particularly since the coup d'etat of 1861, which was feigned by Reconstruction historians as the Congress of the United States of America adjourned sine die. These same historians and scholars have always known and do know that the existing and demo-imposed judicial system at North America is based in fraud and with its membership operating in a deceptive state of impersonation. Furthermore, all historians, scholars, and general education board teachers, administrators, and professors have always known that the misrepresented judicial system that operates on the land at North America is unconstitutional, is a foreign, for-profit platform, and for private European barrister venues, etc. All such pseudo-courts were then and are now de facto again, ergo a need for consular court restoration. Contemporarily, 1956, an important and compound political action took place initiated from the North Gate. Layered within those political actions, discussions, and disputes was the relinquishment of consular court at the Northwest. On the one hand, the apparent implications of the right of self-government was restored to the Moorish jurisdiction. Yet on the other hand, we see that European decolonization initiatives commanded by international law agreements were not actuated on the larger scale over the lands of the Moors. The Europeans relinquished jurisdiction at the Moroccan Kingdom territory located at the northern coast of South Asia, Africa, but did not relinquish jurisdiction at Northwest Amexem, Northwest Africa, North America. Right? And just to kind of summarize this, the last part that I've been reading, since 1956, right, Moors have had the opportunity, Grand Sheikhs and Grand Sheikhesses and Assistant Grand Sheikhs in the temple have had the right and permission and the ability, from the quote-unquote government, and it's not that we really needed permission, but they've had the acknowledgement and free reign to make and enforce laws under Act 1 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. And there's very few that demonstrate under Act 1, right? Very few. I could probably count them on one hand with fingers left over. But moving on, we are aware of many otherwise hidden and less publicly admitted political, economic, and social motivations as to why the German Dutchman Dwight D. Eisenhower relinquished jurisdiction at some parcels of the Moroccan Empire, but with deception, not abandoned jurisdiction at the heartland, North Gate. Now to maintain some clarity on the consular court restoration subject matter at hand. And just again, getting to the consular court restoration, everybody might not know, but after you see this, after, your temple is aware, you can't feign ignorance anymore. You can't claim that you was ignorant of Act 1 after you've read the Divine Constitution Bylaws and it's been made clear to you that that's talking about civics, right? And when the prophet says part and parcel of this said government, right? What is it? Act 6, with us, all members, and for the camera, is what I'm reading. For y'all in the chat, what I'm reading, Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality. And we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. All right? But this is a new era of time now, and all men must now proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Ali the prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. And sin just means ignorance, by the way. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. So since 1956, right, since 1956, if Dwight D. Eisenhower and the quote-unquote U.S. relinquished jurisdiction of consular courts in Morocco, since then, how many child support cases do you think we could have avoided? How much in child support do you think you could have avoided if you've been paying child support? I know my brothers, out there, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Some sisters too. Yeah. Some sisters too know what I'm talking about, unfortunately. Right? How much of that could have been avoided if, you had your own courts to go to actually get a fair ruling, maybe? I don't know. Just thoughts, just some thoughts. Anyway, now to maintain some clarity on the consular court restoration subject matter at hand, let us present to the reader the definition of the word restore. Restore is defined from the Old Moorish Latin restare and means to renew, to rebuild, to alter, to give back, to return, to put back, to bring back into existence or use, to bring back into a former state or condition, and to put again in possession of something. All right? Jurisconsult. In our current Moorish affairs, we are addressing the important issue of assuring among ourselves qualified and qualifying jurors. This is very important. This is what we're getting into today. Talking about this restoration of consular court and getting to the issue of jurors, right? Or jurisconsults, right? This is necessitated by the fact that many active Moors are coming back into the constitutional fold of government with the intent to enforce the de jure established law of the land via that organic constitution. Therefore, qualified jurors are an obvious component to the social, political remedies which have, by default, been absent from our communities, right? You can't have a trial by jury if there's no jury. You follow me? It can't happen. Otherwise, it's called a bench trial or a trial by the judge. All right. So moving on. A juror is essentially a designation given to a woman or son who takes on an affirmative oath as an allegiance. Thus, in organized government and under the rule of established jurisprudence and law, a juror is a jurisconsult. A jurisconsult is one who is learned in international and in public law. Therefore, jurisprudence, jurisprudent, jurisdiction, juris, juristic, juridical, jurinium, or juritinium, or just gentium, my bad, pardon self. Just gentium, just sanguis, just soli, juro, justice, etc. are all related to and included in the studies required of or relegated to a juror. Thereupon is an honorable juror trusted as a qualified consul. All right? So, juror, then consul. Just keep that in mind. Within the grammatical construct of the word jurisconsult, one can see the word consul, juris, underline consult. That foresaid allegiance of a juror/consul refers to the acts of one taking on devotion to ethical maxims, right? To established principles, to honorable causes, to loyalty, and to the fidelity owed to one's kindred, nation, and government, etc. Given to reason, a juror is a member of a collective chosen body referred to as a jury. A jury is an agreed body of natural people who are, by legal qualified process, selected to examine and to inquire into any matter of fact and to give or to present their just determinations or verdicts according to the manifested evidence. Manifested or, evidence that's been entered into the record, right? Logically, one who is dealing with or assigned to address or to investigate such evidence by right should and must be ethical in her or his rationale and judgments, right? You don't want an unethical person trying to argue for you because they might lie and get you in trouble. Ethics is the discipline that deals with what is good and bad, and with moral duties and obligations. And so, in this instance, we are consciously working to discipline ourselves to take serious the individuals, the groups, and national obligations which we hold by unbiased measure as primal to Moorish culture. And so we are taking on the responsibilities of practicing and restoring where absent those moral and ethical principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. All right? And so those are some excerpts from the Juror Questionnaire. And I wanted to read that to you guys just to get it on the record for one thing, and two, to kind of give you guys a quick idea of where we're going to be going here in a little while. And I know some of you have been on the sidelines kind of wondering what's next. Well, what's next, we really need you guys to start studying and applying this stuff. But in particular, to start filling out your juror questionnaires and getting them back in so that we can start assembling and, you know, getting our list together for the juries, right? For the various provinces, right? And we'll get into some of that towards the end. And I'll break that down. So anyway, questions lot 1. So this is coming out of Juror Questionnaire. If you downloaded it and you're following along, you know, read along with me. Number 1, and these are questions I'm asking you guys. We might hit the answers later, we might not, but this is an open book test. So there's no there's really no way to cheat. All right, it's an open book test. So look it up if you don't know it, all right? Number 1 in law, what is a writ, right? What is a writ? I'll give the definition in a second, but, you know, just think about it. In law, what's an affidavit, right? 3, describe and identify the distinct differences between a writ and an affidavit, and how are these instruments similar? Number 4, why must we, Moors of the Northwest, fly our colors as customarily displayed upon our lawful and legal documents and instruments, right? Number 5, what is a maxim of law? Number 6, what is a precept? Number 7, what is the meaning of primogeniture? Number 8, is the divine constitution and bylaws of the Moorish? What is the divine constitution and bylaws of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science? All right, if you've been paying attention, you know, you should have that one today, right? 9, what is the general function of a consular court? All right? So these are the questions. That's lot 1, that's 1 through 9. So I'm gonna give y'all, I'll say 3 answers today. You know what I mean? We'll look these definitions up, which, not to say that giving the definition is gonna be the complete answer. You know what I mean? Because, you know, you could always go for extra points, you know, or a more complete or more thorough answer, you know, like the professor used to say. You know, there's one answer, but there's always a better answer. You know, there's a good answer and there's a better answer, right? So strive for the better answer, not just the good answer. I'm looking for the definition of writ right now. Let me pause for the call so there won't be no dead air. Islam. All right, so we're back. So I found writ here. The definition of writ coming out of Black's Law, 4th edition. All right, writ, a precept in writing couched in the form of a letter, running in the name of the king, president, or state, issuing from a court of justice, and sealed with its seal, addressed to a sheriff or sheriff, or other officer of the law, or directly to the person whose action the court desires to command, either as the commencement of a suit or other proceeding, or as incidental to its progress, and requiring the performance of a specified act, or giving authority and commission to have it done. A mandatory precept issuing from court of justice. Process. For the names and descriptions of the various particular writs, see the titles below. All right. So writs are the precepts in writing, right? Jumping down to number 6, it asks, what is a precept, right? Let me just pause for the cause on that one. I hate to start the camera yawning, but anyway, precept in English law and American law, an order or direction emanating from authority to an officer or body of officers commanding him or them to do an act do some act within the scope of their powers. All right. Now, mind you, you got to, the writ or the precept is commanding them to do something within their powers, not something outside of their powers, right? A lot of times y'all are asking for stuff that might not be in their powers, but you first have to understand what their title is and what their, powers entail before you can tell them what to do and what not to do, right? Right. So, I mean, I could give examples, but I'm not gonna play y'all like that. I really I'm gonna encourage y'all to just think this time. All right. This time around, if you ask me a question and I think you didn't think about it, I'm gonna tell you to think about it. All right. If you email me and it's a question that I can tell you did not do any research on, I'm gonna tell you to think about it. And when I tell you to think about it, don't try to ask the question in another way and think you slick. Like, I might just hang up on you. I'm just being honest. Like, y'all play way entirely too much. Y'all play too much, right? And y'all like to waste folks' time, I notice, but that's neither here nor there. So we're gonna wrap things up here, because I'm not gonna get on my soapbox with you guys. Check out this questionnaire. Make sure that you're studying the answers and you go for the best answer, not just what you think is a good answer. And I'll say the first round of people, if you guys can get this to me, let's say December 20th, I should be free by then.
Prophecy was, he's only representing.
Thanks, Bobby. So yeah, well, I'll say, let's say December 20th, 2017. You guys get these done by December 20th, 2017. We should have some things figured out on our end, and we'll start grading the first batch and get you guys your grades back starting from that point. But I don't expect it to be a small number of you guys, so of course bear with us. But as you fill them out, you can email me for the, and I'll give you the mailing location or whatever. Or you can just scan them to me via the website. If you go to the very bottom, there's an entry form there, and you can actually upload all your stuff. And yeah, so that's that. Now for housekeeping, all right, for those who have been rocking with us and you've been paying attention on the back end on the Moore book. I know things are kind of slowed down. We're going to be picking that up a little bit more. We've got more posts coming out. I know I've been giving you guys the videos and everything. And you guys already have the questionnaire on there. You've had it for a while now. So I'm expecting you guys, all of y'all, to be some of the first ones to be turning your questionnaires in, because like I said, you've had the most time with it. For those who are just now getting it, typically, I mean, you could take up to a year to probably get through this or longer. I mean, it could take you however long it takes you. But if you want to be active, we need it back by December 20th. All right? If you want to get on the list for the first round of jurors, we need it back by December 20th. That is the cutoff date. If you send it 21st, you will go on the second batch, period. Ain't no questions, ifs, ands, or buts about it. Don't ask me about it. Nah. You get it on the 21st, it's late. If it's postmark on the 20th, you might be all right. But yeah, we got to have a cutoff point at some point. Otherwise, y'all just linger stuff on forever. But yeah, we're gonna get those juror questionnaires in. If you haven't already, check out the website. We've got updates. The buttons and stuff, I know they wasn't working before. We got that fixed now. So everything you should be able to download. The Moorish Bazaar, the store is open now. So we've got the thumb drives for you guys. We've got, online downloads. We got the DVDs, of course. We got Shea Butter. Shouts out to True Beauty Natural. Love you guys over there, for providing us with the Shea Butter. And, oh yeah, of course, we're selling paperwork now. Yep. Yep. And, yeah, we got IDs now. So your national identification cards and your freedom of movement, right to travel identification cards, you can order those online via fezprovinceregency.org. All right. So, and we've got books coming out pretty soon. Hopefully we'll have the Circle 7 and the 101s available pretty soon here. Once we get some technical difficulties worked out. But otherwise, you guys, I really want to thank you all in chat, for stopping by. If you guys don't have any questions or concerns, let me know. All right, so looks like we're good in the chat. But for all those who've been tuning in or whatever and been wondering where we're at, we're back. Now it's gonna be Sundays, so check us out. 7:30 to about 8 or 9-ish. We'll be going in for Sunday school. Yeah, man. If you got any questions, just again email me fezprovince@gmail.com. Website fezprovinceregency.org. Oh, we got a Patreon coming soon. I got finalizing details on that, but that's gonna be Regencia Alabamu in Tierra de Flores, Provincia, and this is just some more housekeeping. So we've got a seal now, right? Right now, all the paperwork from Fez Province and down here is going to be running through me for right now, because we got some other stuff going on in the background. We got to figure out, but it's all good. So contact me if you want to get your paperwork signed. Contact me if you need, if you need to get in touch with somebody around you to witness your paperwork, because I can't myself witness the paperwork and sign it. So activemoors.com. This is another thing I gotta make sure I get that out there. activemoors.com. Get on there, and you'll be able to find other Moors in your area that are active like you. You know what I mean? We've got groups for all the quote unquote states, all the corporate states. We've got groups for all of that. Going forward, we're going to be bringing more content to Active Moors, and we're going to be, posting some more news. I know personally I'm going to be posting some more news articles and things of that sort, try to keep you guys abreast in, the public sphere and stuff is going on. Yeah, speaking of that, I could have gotten the news today. I'll be trying to give you guys some updates, here and there with some reports. I also got to let you guys know, shouts out to YouTube for being a hater. Number one haters. I got hit up in the adpocalypse, guys. I didn't think it was going to happen, but yeah, it happened. And they demonetized a lot of my stuff, a lot of videos on there. So, being forced to make changes, we do what we do. We just roll with the punches, ain't no thing. It just motivation for me, really. Let me know I'm doing something right. So we just keep it moving. So we got the Patreon up and running. So support us through there if you can. We got donations starting out. I think it's gonna be $2 to start out, and you get good stuff, neat stuff. Yeah. So look forward to some updates, man. Sorry it took so long for me to holler back at you guys, but life goes, man. We got to make it do what it do. So with that, I want to say peace and love, and